Today I will explain a 2014 comedy and fantasy movie titled Some Kind of Beautiful. Grab a seat and enjoy the show. Richard Haig was born into a university professor's home. In a home where an immoral lifestyle and seemingly carefree behavior are trivialized as nothing, all Richard wanted was to turn out to be a lecturer like his father. Richard grew up an English professor, juggling between his academic career, romantic escapades, and his dream of becoming a published author. Richard gets into a love triangle with one of his female students. Richard and Kate's relationship develops. She finds herself head over heels in love. She wanted to get married to Richard so badly. While Richard was in a bar, he met Olivia, a beautiful and spirited writer who badly wanted a solitary lifestyle due to her previous unpleasant experience with the people already in her life. She wanted a lone life so badly that when her phone fell through a manhole into a drainage system, she nonchalantly brushed off the incident and asked people around her not to bring out the phone. The flirty Richard launched out flirting around with Olivia and even took a chance to attempt to kiss Olivia at the bar. But his fantasy was cut short by Kate's entrance into the bar. Richard was immediately thrown into total disbelief when Kate introduced Olivia to him as her sister. Olivia, understanding Richard is her sister's boyfriend, stylishly berates him for his loose nature towards other women while he's in a relationship. Olivia also bemoans Kate for her choice of man. Kate, in a bid to counter Olivia's opinion of Richard and make Olivia understand why she chose Richard, accidentally announced that she was pregnant before the pair. As she desired a change of environment, Kate, after they left the bar, told Richard her plans for them to move to Los Angeles. At another time, Richard visited his parents' house. His father was gravely anxious about his slow-paced career growth and asked why he never moved up his grade at work. Also aware of Richard's relationship with his American student, the father vehemently reeled out to him some of the disadvantages of dating an American woman. The in-love Richard consensually migrated to Los Angeles with Kate, abandoning his lecturing job. By that time, he had become the father of a smart, handsome boy, Jake. They moved into a new house. While in Los Angeles, Richard applied for a lecturing job at the University of Los Angeles. Meanwhile, he was offering a part-time lecturing service to the school. As things unfold in LA, Kate gets entangled in a newfound love life with another man named Brian. Upon the breaking of the newly found love news to Richard, he seemingly showed displeasure at the new development from his wife. Kate reminded him she was only young at the time and knew nothing when she kicked off the romantic relationship with him back then in England. Also affirms that she loves Brian because he shares a common interest with her, like in discussing startups, acquisition, and existing strategy. Meanwhile, those are things about her that Richard finds boring. In the following days, Richard systematically became a babysitter, looking after his little son while Kate moved around with her lover Brian, some business trips. Each time she leaves a list of schedules for Richard to operate with around the house. Richard received a deportation threat following his failure to honor invitations from the immigration office for interviews. One of the nights Richard had a night out with some of the recruiting panelists of Los Angeles University. His experience was a sheer awkward moment, goofed around after he induced himself with a glass of alcoholic wine. Later that night, on his way home, Richard got arrested for drunk driving, subsequently gained bail with Kate's intervention. Things started degenerating between them due to his seemingly irresponsible behavior. In an interesting twist, Olivia suffers heartbreak following the fact that she walks in on her fiancé seeing her doctor in their home. Kate invites her to come to live with them. Also a strategy for Olivia to help babysit and drive Jake around to places in the city, but Richard acted a little surprised at Kate for not including him in the decision before bringing Olivia to live with the family. Richard eventually attended the interview at the immigration office but got mandated to join a 10-day recovery program as he failed his interview due to his arrest a few days back. In a turn of events, there started to exit iota to bond between Richard and Olivia. As he realizes Olivia cannot appropriately drive a car, he offers to assist her. During their bonding period, Olivia shared with Richard her various awkward sex life experiences in the past with different types of men. Richard joined the recovery program for the first time sounding all tacky, speaking in denial about how he's not a drunkard and unqualified to be in the program, thus concluded by asserting that drinking is a habit in England. Statements he later made an effort to overwrite during his second visit to the recovery program center, a move that became necessary for him the second he realized that an undercover federal agent was set up to mount surveillance on him. Olivia's affection for Richard further increased when she witnessed a heartwarming father-son connection between Richard and Jake. a sight that also brought tears to Olivia's eyes. Richard, who subconsciously developed feelings for Olivia, met a disappointing sight the night he went to Olivia's room with a bottle of wine to share. Before the unannounced visit, Richard had been observing Olivia's curvy from across his room window. But, instead of experiencing a blissful night with Olivia, Richard came to the sight of another dude in Olive's room tying only a white towel around his waist. Guys, sorry again for the inconvenience. Yesterday I asked you guys to help me reach 1,000 subscribers, and I want to say thanks to the 12 people who subscribed. Now I need only 157 to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. Can you take 1 second of your time and help me with that? I will be grateful, thanks in advance. Little did he know the stranger was a mere colleague to Olivia. Later that night Olivia went over to see Richard and to set the record straight with Richard about the guest in her room, as Richard saw earlier. As she cleared the air about the guest, she asked Richard for the bottle of wine brought earlier, as Richard compliments and flattered with some sweet seductive words. This made Olivia warmly succumb to kissing him out on his veranda before they ended up in Richard's room, where they made love to each other all through the night. Richard made a precautious effort to shield Olivia from leaking their sexual experience with Kate to avoid risking deportation. Everything around Richard appeared on a downhill trajectory the moment his father showed up at their house. He told Richard his mother had left him. Richard, on his last day at the recovery program, met Wendy, the lead head of the recovery program, who turned down signing Richard's paper after he had completed the 10 days of meetings, citing that he did not reflect what the program teaches in his character. In another event, Richard was seen talking to his father on the phone, lamenting how he had supposedly performed poorly at his test lecture at the University of Los Angeles, until the news of his success at the test broke to him, which brought along his employment parcel that he got the job. Out of sheer excitement to share the thrilling news, Richard dashes into the house kitchen, where he begins pouring his heart out to Olivia, including why they should intensify their love and sexual affairs since he's separated from Kate, oblivious of the fact that his utterances were to the hearing of Kate and Brian. Repercussion ally, Kate tossed Olivia out of her house, saying she could go ahead and have Richard. Sadly, Richard got arrested and deported back to England after a fellow recovery program attendee testified that Richard offered to give her marijuana in one of their program days. Now back to his lecturing job in England. His hospitalized, sick father persuaded him to go get back his love Olivia in Los Angeles. Following the advice, Richard illegally migrated to LA to attend Olivia's book launch. After a few minutes, he arrived at the book launch venue and paced around in search of Olivia. He finally spotted Olivia by the beachside, where she stood looking ahead to the ocean spread before her. Sipping on a glass of wine, Richard walked to her from behind, connecting with her eyes. Richard tells her how much he has fallen deeply in love with her. Olivia in turn says she knows he will come, and sequel professes back her love for him. Later in the day, Richard with the rest of the family went standing on a cabin above the beach, where he eulogized his now dead father and poured out his ashes. At that moment, Richard made to Olivia jokingly went down on one knee to ask for Olivia, a proposal Olivia excitedly accepted with kisses to Richard's lips. The end. That was all from the video. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications.